Helen wakes up at 6 a.m., just as she always has since her husband passed away 2 years ago. The morning light fills her kitchen gently, yet nothing feels warm anymore. She brews 2 cups of coffee, one for herself, and one for the husband who is no longer there. The steam rises slowly from the cup that will never be touched. She places it in front of the empty chair and sits quietly. Helen whispers softly, "I think I have been standing still all this time." Outside, birds are singing, but inside, time has barely moved. Helen walks down her hallway slowly, touching the framed photographs that line the walls. Each picture holds a memory she is not ready to face. She stops in front of the photo taken on their last wedding in Ivers. She avoids looking at the empty side of the bed, though her eyes drift there anyway. Some mornings, she forgets he is gone, just for a moment, before the truth returns. Her breath trembles quietly, but she stays still, unwilling to let the tears fall. On a quiet morning, the doorbell rings suddenly, echoing through the silent house. Helen freezes for a moment, unsure if she should answer. Helen opens the door, and Margaret stands there with a tired but gentle smile. Margaret says quietly, "Helen, would you walk with me today? If we don't go now, I'm afraid we never will." Margaret steps closer, giving Helen a soft, brief hug that feels more like a plea than a greeting. Helen nods faintly, her eyes drifting away as she tries to steady her breath. Soon after, Joan arrives, holding a small envelope in her hand and wearing a gentle, hopeful smile. At the dining table, the 3 women sit together as Joan opens the small envelope. It is a picture of the 3 of them, taken more than 20 years ago under bright summer sunlight. Joan says quietly, "Do you remember this trip? We laughed so much that day." Margaret chuckles softly, "And we got lost for 2 hours, remember that?" Helen looks at the photograph for a long time, her fingers brushing its worn edges. Joan adds, "Back then, we thought the world was ours. But that feeling, it did not disappear." Helen's eyes soften, and she whispers, "I miss who we were." After a long pause, Margaret says softly, "Helen, let's take a walk. Just today, nothing more." She ties the laces slowly, her fingers trembling as she realizes how long it has been since she last wore these shoes. When she opens the front door, the sunlight touches her face gently, almost as if welcoming her back. She takes one step outside, then another, standing beside her 2 closest friends. To anyone else, it is just a walk, but for Helen, it is the first chapter of a new beginning. At the park, the 3 women find a quiet bench beneath the trees. Helen listening deeply with gentle sadness in her eyes, emotional cinematic style, 16:9. "I had to close my photo studio," Joan says softly. "Customers stopped coming, and when I put my camera down, I felt like I disappeared too." Margaret nods slowly, her eyes glistening. "My back gave out. I had to quit my bakery. I miss the smell of fresh bread, and I miss feeling useful." Helen listens deeply, her heart heavy with their confessions. "The day my husband died," she says, "I promised I would keep living. But I didn't realize how quickly I stopped trying." "We are all losing things," Helen whispers, her voice cracking. "But maybe losing them together makes it hurt a little less." They begin walking again, slowly at first, their steps uneven but moving in the same direction. Margaret laughs softly, wiping the corner of her eye. "Look at us," she says. "We are slower, but we are still moving." Helen smiles for the first time in a long while, a small but genuine smile that lights her face gently. A gentle breeze moves through the trees, lifting a few leaves as if celebrating their steps. "Maybe healing is not about forgetting," Helen says quietly. "Maybe it is about walking with the memories instead of running from them." Joan nods, her voice warm. "And walking with the right people." In the following days, Helen begins brewing only 1 cup of coffee in the morning, not because she forgot him, but because she finally remembered herself. She opens the windows wide, letting the sunlight drift into the rooms that had been dark for so long. Every week, she meets Margaret and Joan, and their walks become a small tradition, a promise they keep without saying it aloud. Helen begins to notice colors again, the soft sky outside, the green of the trees, even the way light touches her hallway. Healing is slow, but it is real, and each day she feels a little more present than the day before. On a bright afternoon, Joan brings her old camera, cradling it in her hands as if greeting an old friend. Helen stands between her 2 friends, feeling the sunlight rest on her shoulders like a gentle embrace. The wind brushes her hair softly, lifting the ends as if celebrating the moment with them. Joan clicks the shutter, the soft sound echoing deeper than a simple photograph. It feels like a doorway opening. The camera captures 3 women, not broken, not lost, but blooming again in their second chapter of life. Today is the youngest we will ever be again. And maybe that is reason enough to take one more step. If there is a path you have been afraid to walk again, maybe today is the perfect day to start.